Big Drive Live Wednesday, hump day. And Keegan Bradley is Captain America. We're going to talk about Keegan Bradley being named the captain of the 2025 U.S. Ryder Cup team out of the blue. Rory McIlroy with some interesting comments. We are moving the professional golf tour, the part that everybody cares about, over to Europe this week with the Scottish Open, leading us into our fourth and final major of the year, the Open Championship, coming up next weekend. We'll have coverage for you, of course, all week. Pod on Monday, pod on Wednesday, and then pod on Friday probably, and Sunday too. Marissa's just finding out about this now. It's beautiful. We love to see it. She just gave me a look. All right, let's tee it up. Big Drive Energy here live, Studio B, just me, all alone again, back on the East Coast, Mr. Miggsy. We got a question for you. Did you succumb to the Starbucks app? Because I'm drinking a great, no free ads Starbucks right now, this dairy-free matcha something or other, and it's got me hooked. And I got a free rainbow straw. So
I think I was the one that got you that free rainbow straw, but yes,
no,
I
got
did.
a new one today. The lady handed it to me, said, you get a free straw with your drink. And I said, thank you very much. I ordered it on the app. So are you in or not? What's the story here?
Yes, I did download the app. I already blew through about 20 beans. I think it was when I bought me, you, and Marissa all drinks. I don't really remember, if I'm being honest, but yes, I am now part of giving Starbucks just free money, just $25 a rip, whatever, deposit on there, fucking send it. But yes, I am back in New Jersey. It is hot as fuck out here. So I do this in like our office / spare bedroom, which Spencer will be sleeping in this weekend. Here he's coming out for Philly, but we have like wall units. We don't have central air conditioning. And they're pretty loud, so I obviously turn that off when we do this. And I am going to be sweating like fucking I'm already sweating, so everything is going well. Yeah, I was teaching yesterday, and I legit like had to stop and just wipe sweat out of my eyes, and shit burns like crazy. So I'm leaving Colorado, coming back to humidity is a little bit of a challenge, I will say. Because you legit walk outside and it feels like you're in an oven.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to coming out to the East Coast this week. I mean, I am for the standpoint of we've got our first annual PHLY Liberty Open, little scramble action on Saturday down at Valley Brook Country Club in Blackwood, New Jersey. So excited to check out that part of the country's golf courses because I haven't played a ton of golf on the East Coast. It, by the way, is South Carolina considered the East Coast, or is there like a north-south latitude area? You know, like I don't feel like people like Florida. Nobody says I'm going to the East Coast. I'm going to Florida. So where's the cutoff for East Coast versus like South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida?
I think the cutoff for calling it the South is at North Carolina. Once you're north of North Carolina, it's the East Coast.
Okay.
Otherwise, North Carolina is called the South.
Okay. So North Carolina is the South. Obviously, South Carolina is even more south. And then is there maybe it's Georgia that touches the water from Florida past that? But yeah, so it's East Coast is north area, which I haven't played a ton of golf in, haven't been to a ton, honestly. So excited to get out there and see where you're living. It's a weird concept to me because we've lived in the same relatively 45 minutes away from each other max at all times our entire lives. So now you being across the country is a little different for me, but excited to see where you live. Excited to play some golf on Friday. We've got a tee time already. And then super excited to potentially play in the tournament Saturday. But hosting a tournament when you're not the golf pro specifically is just a little more fun because you do the check-in. It's a little crazy, but then you don't have to we get the scoring done for us this week, which is great. I'm not going to demean or talk down to any courses that we've been to with some of our tournaments, but some of them are just like, yeah, we don't do scoring. And some of them are like, yeah, we do all the scoring. We'll grab you all the things and hand them to you. It's incredible. Like Cog Hill, Chicago, which that sign up is open. Come hang out with us in Chicago, August 23rd, excuse me. Friday, August 23rd, Cog Hill, number 2, the Ravines course, incredible facility, but they have a scoring area with the pavilion afterwards where like the pro does all the scoring on they have a TV that they roll down there, does all the electronic scoring. They hand you all the proxies. You just hand out the prizes. And that's really nice because sometimes I drink a little bit on these, whether I'm working or playing, but it's a little stressful when you're trying to like collect all the stuff yourself. I may have to head out to the golf course on a random dirty cart from the tournament to grab the proxy from number 7. Things get lost. So when the course handles that, I love it. And I'm really excited to have an afternoon tournament as well with a dinner afterwards. So we've got dinner afterwards and unlimited draft beer for 2 hours at this tournament. So should be a pretty toasty evening afterwards at Valley Brook Country Club, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that was just like the longest plug ever for a tournament that I've heard. But yes, I am also looking forward to it. Another thing I think everybody's looking forward to, I wore my Iowa Hawkeye shirt because this is the week that NCAA college football 25 gets dropped, correct?
Yeah.
24?
25.
How excited are you? Like, I'm just excited. I personally will not be playing. Like, I don't have my Xbox here. It's back in Colorado, sitting in mom's house. But I'm excited for all of the social media shit that comes from it. Like, somebody's got to take Iowa and make them have a good offense, right?
Yeah, well, actually, some of the ratings came out yesterday. I saw a tweet about it, and Iowa's got their Cade McNamara is rated 93 overall in the game.
Holy shit!
If he can stay healthy, maybe that's the key. And then I think they had all the offensive players that were rated highly. I think Luke Lachey, the tight end, is at like 92, and they had a couple other guys over 90. So that's solid. And On3 Sports came out yesterday with their like best position groups, and they did linebackers. Phil Steele, the king of college football and rankings and preseason stuff. And Iowa has the best linebackers in the entire country. They're returning Joe Evans and I forget the other guy's name now, but best linebackers in the country. Iowa makes them good. So as long as we get a decent quarterback play and just run the ball and continue to find punters from Australia, 10 wins is right on the horizon again.
Dude, I mean, this could be – wait, this is the last year of the 4-team playoff, correct?
No, this year it's 8 or 12. Excuse me. It goes to 12 this year.
Holy shit, I am so fucking excited for that. So Iowa's got a legit chance of making the playoff this year.
100%. And punch your ticket and get in. You have a nasty defense. You never know what's going to happen with that team.
Another team I feel like we should touch on quickly. Let's give a little prediction for the CU Buffaloes. Let's see how many wins they're going to end up with this year.
Let's not do that. I don't want to talk about that. No, I'd say if they win 7 games, that's a good year.
That was exactly 7 games was in my head. Make it to a bowl game. I saw Vic Lombardi talking about that earlier. It's just so wild, all the shit surrounding that program at this point when we grew up in Colorado and it was so irrelevant for the majority of our life. And now all of a sudden it's one of the main talking points in college football. It's just weird to me.
Yeah, it's the rise of the entire like program, college in general is insane. So for the CU people, for that, I'm super happy for them. But I would like to see them win some games. You know, like it's good for the business. It's good for Colorado in general. But let's calm down the talking until we win some actual games. That's my main takeaway from that. I don't want to get too deep into it because I don't want to offend anyone. But win some games and then I'll hear your loud mouth. from everyone.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you got to put your money where your mouth is. Well, so let's also touch on your son's first birthday party.
Yeah, the
You have
hole in one.
a
It was a
whole.
great time. Wife planned it all out. It was she did a great job in planning it, getting the food. We got the food, got it catered. Shout out to Broken T Golf Club, place we've done our tournaments at, but they did a great job. We hosted it down at the pavilion. Had a bunch of friends out. Our doctor yesterday, we had his 1 month or 1 year checkup, which was a disaster. 4 shots back to back to back to back. He was just like, he was just not having it. But he goes, yeah, first birthday's for you guys. Every other birthday after that's for him. And it was just kind of funny to hear him say that. But it was a great time. Golf themed, of course. Had the Masters green jacket on him. Looked like a stud. Incredible. Incredible stuff from my wife, just coordinating the entire thing, because it was a fun time, but it's also like, it's not like when you're running it, quote unquote, like I was just a small part in running it, but I'm not going to be like, I can't just go around and hang out and party the entire time. There's things to do. There's the cake, which was delicious. I dove into that with my hands myself, because that's what I do. I had to show my kid how to do it, and then he started diving in on his own. So proud of him for that. But he got some good gifts. He's riding his little mini bike around already, and we got him a water table. He's obsessed with that. So just good times all around. Can't believe I kept a kid alive for 1 year, but shout out Sawyer. He's the GOAT.
Shout out Saw Dogs. He is the man. Marissa, can you confirm or deny that contributing to your niece or nephew's college fund as a gift is a good gift or not? Like, is that a lame ass thing? Like, am I a boomer for doing that?
No, from an adult standpoint. I think for a kid, it's kind of like getting towels for Christmas, because it's like, like, what do I do with these? But, like, at the end of the day, it benefits in a way that they're going to be super grateful as they get older. So it's going to be like a gift that's delayed.
For sure. I mean, it's more of a gift to Spencer, because ultimately it's less coming out of his pocket. So I just don't want to feel lame about not giving Sawyer. And also, let's just be real. Every 1-year-old has so much shit, that I know, at least, that it's like, what more can I buy him that he does not have? So yeah, I just
can confirm he has a ton of shit.
Yeah. Like, would you be stoked if I just bought him another toy and you're like, oh, perfect, I have another fucking thing to step on and throw at the wall?
Yeah, exactly. But no, college fund, great gift. It'll turn into an IRA for me and Kylie when we retire, because he's getting that full ride football scholarship in college. Buddy is in the 98th percentile of weight and 91st in height. Or no, vice versa. 91st in weight, 98th in height.
Just be careful, though, because Christian was too, and now he's like 5'10" and can't jump worth the shit. So
men under 5'10" should be illegal.
Well, he's there, and he is not.
Oh my God. Well, half of this podcast wouldn't exist if being under 5'10" was illegal. So go fuck yourself, Spencer.
Okay.
But you're kind of like doxing your kid. You're fucking like, you just want to give everyone a social security card while you're at it.
No, I'm just saying he's a big dude. Thick boy.
I was going to say.
Also, I had a full ride and I was short, so fuck you.
Okay, well, I'm getting a lot of pushback here early in the morning on this pod, so it's not usually how I like to start it out, but it is what it is.
Do we need to cover anything else? What did we miss? My flight. Oh, so yeah, my flight coming back to New Jersey. Everybody gets on the plane. We're like 3/4 the way on, or like loaded, and they come over the loudspeaker and go, "We need to change a tire, and we're not permitted to change a tire while anyone is on the plane." So we had to deplane the entire fucking thing, leave our bags on the plane, which was kind of odd. Like, maybe we see him again, maybe we don't. And then sat there for like 30 minutes and then got back on the plane. Do you know what's actually a hack, though? And I like airlines are just bullshitting everyone, because we landed like 10 minutes late of our original time, and we probably made up like 40 to 50 minutes in the air. So I think legitimately that airplanes go way faster than they say they can, or like you're cruising like 450 miles an hour. And I think I saw that we were going like 540 miles an hour when, and I know there's obviously wind, jet wind and shit like that. The jet stream. There we go. But I think the airlines have just been lying to everybody for years, saying it takes this long to get a place, when in reality, I think you can get somewhere way quicker.
Well, I think it's a simple over promise and or under promise and over deliver. You know,
That's fair.
And that's
Yeah.
just natural. And you know who else? Who actually under promises and over delivers is our friends over at Lucy Nicotine. I'm actually gonna fucking flip one out here. Go 1 for 1. Use that code BDE at lucy.co/BDE. You're getting 20% off your nicotine. We're both very stern nicotine users, and we oh dude, my hands are sweaty. This isn't having trouble opening this. Popped out all over my lap. We've been both converted to Lucy. It's an incredible product. I'm rocking the Wintergreen 8s right now. And
Wintergreen 8s? Are you just on fucking 100 right now?
Well, they slap. The Wintergreen 8s are absolutely incredible. I still have some of my breakers of the Apple Ice, but my recent order that I just received yesterday was Wintergreen 8s and Apple Ice 4s, but not the breakers, because I do like the breakers a lot, and they're a very interesting product in terms of they make your mouth feel like taste good, which is not usually something you would think of in a nicotine product. But they make your mouth feel like that minty flavor. But I'm a drink goblin, and so I'm always drinking different things during the day. Non-alcoholic, usually until at least 3 p.m., 4 p.m. But I can't always have like that super minty taste, you know? It's like this morning I was about to have my orange juice, my daily orange juice, and I can't have like this minty flavor with my orange juice. So I went wintergreen, mixed well with the orange juice. But wintergreen is actually my favorite flavor, and I think I'm going to be an 8sman now. So I always throw Lucy in the second I get up. Helps me wake up, honestly. The first thing I do before I take my pre-workout, pop a Lucy in, take the pre-workout, head to the gym. Lucy is by far the best nicotine product we've ever used, and that's saying something coming from us. They have pouches, they have breakers, they have gum, and they have the gum in 2, 4, or 6 milligrams. Plus, if you get the subscription, you're saving an extra percentage off, and they just deliver it right to your door. You don't have to worry about it. You just know that it's coming. You know, you figure out your can per day usage, which I'm about a can-ish, sometimes 2, depending upon what I'm doing. But you figure out that, you know, you split your subscription up to be delivered every 15 days, every 30 days, and you always have nicotine at the ready. So level up your nicotine routine with Lucy. Go to lucy.co/BDE and use that promo code BDE to get 20% off of your order. They offer free shipping and have a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. That's lucy.co. Use code BDE to get 20% off plus free shipping. Here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning: this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Also want to tell you about our great friends over at Bet365. We got a little let down this week again at the John Deere Classic, which we'll briefly touch on here. But Eric Cole, I thought he was going to break through. There has been 24, now 25 first-time winners at the John Deere Classic. It is the most won tournament as a first-time winner goes, now with Davis Thompson taking home the trophy. But we had some guys up there. Denny McCarthy made a great run on Sunday, but ultimately, Davis Thompson just ran away with it, and we had our bets in on Eric Cole and on Denny McCarthy. But the good thing is, with Bet365, when you bet on golf and use the each way propositions, where it doubles your unit and puts 1 unit on them to win the tournament, 1 unit on them to get top 12 is what we usually use. We both still cashed out a little bit of coin with the Bet365 app on Eric Cole because he finished in the top 12, as well as Denny McCarthy because he did as well. So betting golf is our favorite thing to bet. Obviously, this is a golf podcast most of the time, but we love to bet on golf because it's a 4-day watch. You know, you start Thursday and you're locked in Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday with your guys. You can favorite them. You can also watch golf and keep the shot link tracker up on the Bet365 app, which has been a great thing to do. I sometimes get too into it and I'm like staring at each golf shot and it gets a little bit annoying because I'll be like, oh, he hit it to 7 feet, he's going to make birdie, and then he misses it. Or, oh, he hits it to 30 feet, and then he holds it. Like Denny McCarthy made a couple eagles. He made 2 eagles on the back 9 on Sunday. to help him get into that top 12. So make sure you're using the Bet365 app. Use the code ALLCITY in all caps when you sign up, and you get to choose between two offers of a first bet safety net of $1,000 or betting $5 and getting 115 bonus bets, which are great to use for golf. Great odds every single week. And that rolls us into our picks and the odds for the Scottish Open coming up this week. Big bet energy Scottish Open, as I mentioned in the intro, the PGA Tour / DP World Tour. This is like a combined event, is moving over to Europe. We've got, and I like that they do this. It's cool that they do something like this, because we talked about it being annoying that like a signature event was right before the major, and that it maybe took some guys out of their comfort zone, where they normally don't play before a major. But this feels a little different because you're trying to adjust, especially the guys that grew up in America, played a lot of golf in America. You're definitely trying to adjust to a different type of golf. And so going over, playing the Scottish Open, getting your body used to the time change, all of that stuff is huge for these guys when they head over and try to win the fourth major of 2024. So here are our picks. Marissa, if you want to pop those up on the screen there. Bet365 Genesis Scottish Open picks. I'll start with mine. We've got Colin Morikawa plus 1,100 on the each way 1 through 12. So I saw a stat. Colin Morikawa is actually playing, according to strokes gained, the best golf of his career right now. As we know, a couple years ago, ran away with the Open Championship. I might be picking him again next week. I've had him on the card a few times this year where he's gotten close. Hopefully, I've said Colin Morikawa doesn't have that dog in him, but I'm hoping this week he'll have the dog in him for the Genesis Scottish Open. He is the third highest favorite behind last year's winner, Rory McIlroy, and 2 years ago's winner, Xander Schauffele. So he's the third highest favorite in this field at plus 1,100. And
do you think that this is potential blacklist zone for Colin Morikawa?
100%. I actually thought about that in my mind as I was making the pick. I was like, if I don't get... Do you think it hurts worse and a guy is more susceptible to the blacklist if, like... Okay, I'll give you two scenarios. Colin Morikawa is, let's say the leader's 12 under. He's 6 under going into Sunday at the Scottish Open. Shoots a 67, finishes top 8, top 7, wins part of my bet for being top 12, but doesn't win the tournament. Do I feel better about that and not blacklisting him? Or he's 1 or 2 shots off the lead going into Sunday in the final group, makes 17 pars in a row, birdie's the last, it's inconsequential, he loses, then he's more likely to be on the blacklist, correct? Like, I'd almost rather him, because he's not a great blacklist guy. He's going to win he's always going to be in majors, and he's going to win a good amount of tournaments the rest of his career. But I feel better about not blacklisting him if he makes a Sunday charge, Rory style, at a semi-major. I guess this is a lot of good players in the Scottish Open, but I'd feel better about not blacklisting him there than if he's like leading or in the final group and then lays an egg on Sunday.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with that. I would prefer somebody to come in through the back door if we're talking about from purely a blacklist standpoint. But I am honestly going to make a bold prediction, and maybe it's not that bold, but I don't really see Colin Morikawa winning another major. He's won 2, and that's, 2 more than 99% of golfers ever win. I just don't see him getting it done again. Like, think about players that have won 3 majors and above. I just don't know if he's in that group. Maybe from a tee to green standpoint, he is, but like you said, I just don't see that dog in him, and I don't know if he's ever going to get back to that mountaintop. And I could be wrong. This will probably get thrown in my face. He'll go out and win in 2 weeks, and I will be completely fucking wrong. But I just from the eye test, no statistics. I don't need any of that. Just from an eye test, I don't love Colin Morikawa's chances going forward at the majors.
Okay, I like that. I respect that take because you could be wrong. There's been a lot of hot takes in the sports world, but could be exactly right. And then my next 2 picks are a little bit off the radar. under the radar, I should say, off the radar, under the radar,
Off the
same.
grid.
But Thomas Dietrich and Nikolai Højgaard, Thomas Dietrich's plus 4,500, Nikolai Højgaard plus 5,000. We've seen guys like Bobby Mack come in second here last year to Rory. Obviously, he had what we thought was going to be the tournament. Rory made the shot, which they made the plaque for. We can talk about that here in a second. And guys like Thomas Dietrich, Nikolai Højgaard grew up professionally, playing on the DP World Tour, are really comfortable across the pond. And Thomas Dietrich is a guy that's actually had a few top tens here, but not made a splash, not been like, oh, we lost in a playoff. Like, he's just had some solid top 10 runs here. So I like his chances this week. And at plus 4,500, I think this week may be a week where somebody that's not one of the, as my first pick is Colin Morikawa, the Scotty Schefflers, Xander Schauffele's, Rory McIlroys are necessarily worried about winning the tournament. Winning any tournament is good. I'm not saying that, but this may be a week where somebody sneaks up from lower odds to win the tournament because the other guys are like, all right, we've got the major coming up next week. That's what my sights are really focused on. This is oh man, I'm out of the football touch. What do they call this? This is a trap game. This is a trap week. The week before a major is always a trap week for a lot of the prestigious PGA Tour players and the more guys that are focused on winning majors to really enhance their career numbers and enhance their legacy, if you will. So Thomas Dietrich, Nikolai Højgaard, two guys that I see coming up and hopefully competing this week at the Scottish Open.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a trap game, you got to think that Rory's going to win this week because he loves to win the week before a major and then not win the major. So I'm surprised you actually told me you were probably going to have him on your card. So I'm kind of glad you didn't do that because it feels like a little bit of a sucker's bet, but all betting is a challenge no matter what. I have another guy that's potential blacklist material here, Tommy Fleetwood, boosted to plus 1,400 each way 1 through 12.
No, that's plus 1,400 and then boosted on top of that. So.
Oh, okay. Boosted another 30%. So what? That's probably around plus 1,800.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he grew up playing over, he's English. He grew up playing on this style of golf course. He can't win in America, but he can win internationally. So I do like his chances, and he always seems to find his way into contention in these kinds of events. Tom Kim, another dude, and I think we got to touch on what he did this week here in a little bit. But did you hear about the news, Spencer? He missed sign up for this.
Yeah, he had to get a sponsor's exemption to be in this event. And he, along with Thomas Dietrich, when I was kind of doing some research on my picks, is a guy that's like top 10 here multiple times in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I was going to say they both have competed here, but yeah, Tom Kim got close to winning, if I remember correctly, last year. I think he finished like T6 or something like that. But yeah, just totally forgot to sign up. And apparently it takes like 10 seconds. All you got to do on the website, because he's fully exempt and all that, all you got to do is go click commit, and you're in. So he just forgot to do that. And then I guess he blamed it on somebody else. He did not take ownership for it. And it's like,
he's a 22-year-old kid. Let's give this guy a break.
Yeah, but I mean, Tom just seems like such a precise dude. Can you imagine him and his team looking at each other, all pointing fingers, like who fucking fumbled this? Luckily, he's in the field because he always has a good chance of winning. He hits that little low stinger that I just love. Do you remember a couple weeks ago at the Travelers? It was on the 14th hole, I want to say. He hits this stinger that was just the gnarliest 3-wood fucking laser beam that I think he carried it it was a driver. He carried it 240 and it rolled out 70 yards, and it was legit an apex of 20 feet. So that was pretty fucking sick. I just like Tom Kim's game in general. Hopefully he can get it done. And then Bobby Mack, I mean, lost last year to Rory, but he's having another good season this year, won on the PGA Tour, and I could see him competing, at the Open, but I definitely see him playing well this week. It's just built for him. This is his game.
Well, so Bobby Mack, just so you know, I've put my chips in his table on my one and done PGA Tour league. I've got him this week. I'm currently sitting at $13 million for the year. So it's basically you pick one player every week, 2 players every major, and the amount of money that they win goes into your quote unquote account. Top 6 get paid out. So I'm in 13th place at like 13 million something, but 6th place I think is only at like 15 or 16 million. So these next 2 weeks, if I make 3 or 4, I'm going to be right up there with the tops of the tops. So I'm hoping that Bobby Mack comes through, and he did say he was taking some weeks off. He probably went over. He went over to Scotland, so I don't know. Did he come back and play? He definitely didn't play the John Deere, and he didn't play the Travelers, which was the week before that, correct?
Yeah, I think he's
been my point is he's been in Scotland since he won in the Canadian Open.
Yeah, I think he's been back there for probably a month. I think maybe he's played in a DP World event or two, because he obviously wants to maintain his status over there as well. But yeah, I think he's going to be ready to rock. And for how shaky he looked down the stretch of the Canadian Open, I think he's going to be better for it, because he's a relatively young dude, in his mid to late, which is kind of wild because I think he's like 27 or 28, and I'm calling him a young dude because realistically, a young dude on the PGA Tour nowadays is like 19 or 20, but he feels fairly like new to winning, especially on the PGA Tour. But I think this is kind of a perfect combo for him because it's in Scotland, but it's also a bigger like marquee event. So this could kind of springboard him, I feel like, if he wins this week, on to bigger things, possibly winning a major or two. And if he does win the Open Championship, obviously we'll have a full preview next week, whatever. But I could see the celebration being like Shane Lowry-esque if Bobby Mack wins the Open, because he is just so beloved by his home country. And obviously he's for the boys because he left after the Canadian Open to just go home and party with his boys. So if he wins a major, if he wins the Open, it will be fucking cinema.
Dude, I would go as far as to say that if he wins the Scottish Open, it might be the same thing. He may not even be able to make the Open Championship if he wins this week.
That'd be so funny. They'd be like, how are you prepping for the Open Championship? He's like, oh, I'm not playing next week. Like, fuck it. I honestly, like, if the purses weren't so big nowadays, I could see it happening. But at the same time, now that the purses are so big, he's probably going to make, if he wins the Scottish Open, I bet the winner makes $2.5 to $3 million. So he could probably either way be like, yeah, I'm good on the money. But nobody wants to skip a major, that's for sure. It would just be a funny thought for him to like go on a bender after he wins the Scottish Open. But I checked the weather for the Scottish Open, if that's what we're on now.
Weather report.
Yeah, I can't do a Scottish voice. I'm not even going to try to do a fucking...
Come on, you got this. You got this, mate.
I can't even fucking... I'm going to embarrass myself so badly that I can't even do it. Piss off, Marissa. But the weather actually looks pretty nice. It's so wild, like, looking at their weather in the middle. I guess, I don't know if is it summer there? Is it ever summer there? But anywho, the high that it gets to, like, any day is 65. Like, I might need to move to Scotland for that fucking reason, because that sounds absolutely ideal to me. I saw a little bit of rain in the forecast for Saturday. I don't even know what the fuck kind of accent that was. Like the weirdest fucking voice I've ever done.
For Saturday,
this room
have a high of 65.
There you go. This room is so fucking hot. I'm like,
when I start getting into my Scottish accent, sometimes it goes a little too Indian, and then I get talking like this.
I know I can't differentiate between Indian, Australian, fucking English, Scottish. It's pretty piss poor. One of these days we should have Jonathan Sampson on just for the accent. He is from Scotland and his accent is just all time. But the weather report actually looks pretty fucking nice for the most part for Scottish weather. I think there's a little bit of rain in the forecast for Saturday, but other than that, the Scottish Open, typically when it's played at the Renaissance Club, which they like to which they like to pronounce it so oddly for some fucking reason. Really the only teeth it has is when the weather's up, and that's with a lot of links courses. So when the wind is up, when the rain is coming, it really makes it challenging. So hopefully we get some weather this week, because that's part of watching golf across the pond. You want to see the wind fucking blowing dudes' hats off and just making absolute mayhem out there. So we'll see what happens. But the weather does look almost too nice.
See, and if the weather is too nice, which is something that maybe they don't usually have to deal with, is they might need to get their fucking shady rays on. And if the sun's coming out, they need their shady rays. It is golf season all around the world, and you have to have your shady rays on when you're playing golf, because they're the most comfortable sunglasses. They've got the Green Wolf golf lenses that have just come out. I'm not rocking the Green Wolves right now. Those stay in my golf bag. Those will get packed up and brought with me to Philadelphia. But we'll have a Shady Rays whole sponsorship this weekend, and I decided to switch it up. So we've switched up our Shady Rays sponsorship on some of our golf tournaments to give away a free pair of the Green Wolves. And this week we are going to do a longest putt, which is always an electric competition. The pro even gave us a hole that was like super like sloped green. So, and it gives everybody the opportunity, you know, whether you're a 40 handicap or a scratch golfer, you have the opportunity to make the longest putt in a scramble. So they are going to win themselves some Shady Rays. But if you're not playing in the tournament, you can get yourself some Shady Rays by using the code AC35. That saves you 35% off their sunglasses. Shady Rays are the best sunglasses that I've ever worn. I've got multiple pairs, got them in my car, got them in my golf bag, got them in my backpack. I've even got a pair in your car right now, just chilling, because I'm currently driving your car, motoring around the state. I know you love to hear that, but I've got the Shady Rays in your car as well. Great car, by the way. But you use that code AC35 exclusively for our listeners. They're giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use that code, and you get 35% off any of their polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
I have a quick question. Why do you have a basketball in your car? Before I forget.
Oh, because you never know when you're going to need to play a little pick of hoops.
You're not a baller, though.
You don't fucking know me. Marissa, do we need to have a one-on-one? Because I would own you.
Oh, yes, we do.
Can we please do that? Because
she's actually kind of legit.
I don't doubt that, but I just feel like my physical build, I would take her down to the block and just fucking have a heyday. She would not stand a chance. I'm prime Nikola Jokic on the block if I got Marissa guarding me.
Yeah,
she'll
Steph Curry on the 3-point line, so we'll see.
Okay, I'll let you shoot those. I'll play that disrespectful defense. I'll stand right under the hoop and just let you fire. And if you beat me that way, you beat me that way.
All right, go ahead. Continue with your read.
Open shooter. In basketball. Let's not go there.
Can't yell that at the airport.
If you need a moment to chill, which it sounds like we do right now, the beer we always reach for is Coors Light. Whether you're going out with your friends, catching a game, or hanging out at the golf course, that's when I reach for Coors Light. It's mountain cold refreshment made to chill. I love when they have we got a little thrown off when we went to our bachelor party because I was drinking the 30 Coors Lights and I was doing great. And then when I got to the golf course at Keystone, they only had the tall boys. So I had to but basically add to my Coors Light consumption. Not only was it 32 beers, it was more like 34 by the time I got done with the 6 at the golf course. Coors Light is our favorite beer to drink on the golf course because it's refreshing. It doesn't like make your stomach feel bad. It doesn't make your stomach bloated. It's just an incredible all-around light beer. Our favorite beer, we've been drinking it since we were 21, not any earlier. And there's only one beer for us, and that is Coors Light. It's cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold package. So when it's time for a reset or time to chill, Coors Light is the beer I always reach for. When you want to hit the reset, grab that beer that is made to chill. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado, right here in the amazing state of Colorado. Golden, love that place. Great spot for beer. We've done a tour of the Coors facility. It's incredible to see just the mass production because Coors Light's the one beer you can find anywhere. Like if you're going to a gas station, you go to this, you go to that, you're finding a Coors Light, you're drinking it, hammering 30 in a weekend if you want at a bachelor party. I'm sure we'll have quite a few this weekend in Philadelphia. All right, let's get to Keegan, Captain America Keegan, but also I want to touch on the Rory McIlroy stuff, just a few quotes he had. And so I'll let you dive into him putting Hank Haney 6 feet under, which is 11 feet 7 inches under you.
That is fucking correct. Thank you for that math there, you fucking douchebag. So God damn it, I'm gonna have a tough time getting through this now. Well, so Rory basically bodied Hank Haney, saying that he would never take advice from him, so he would never listen to his criticisms, because he was criticizing Harry Diamond, which I actually didn't know Rory's caddy's name was Harry Diamond, but that's like that is either like the most uppity, like silver spoon English kid's name, or like a full blown stripper name, because either way, that can't be real.
They come with like stripper names with like, I'd have to look one up, but it's like the month you were born, and then like Harry Diamond is something that definitely fucking Harry. I'd be like Harry December.
Yeah, your fucking something you have on your chest and your birthstone. That's his fucking name.
Is the diamond a birthstone for anyone? That's kind of electric, if so.
I think so. Yeah, because some women use it as an excuse to buy diamonds, which are as an excuse to ask for diamonds, which is just absurd. But anywho, fucking Rory's out here defending. Dude, I am short circuiting. This room is so fucking hot. I'm about to lose. Like my chin is sweating. Everything.
It's not real until we start seeing the glistening of like sweat rolling down.
You can't. If I turn into the light, you can look at that shiny ass chin I got going. It's fucking. I am sweating my ass off. So if I fucking sound like I'm in an alternate universe, like there for a second, I was zoning out and my eyes were going blurry. Like I'm losing focus here. But basically, getting back to it. Rory bodied Hank Haney by defending Harry Diamond, because he said, I can't say fucking Harry Diamond. Like I just can't take it seriously.
Smooth Diamond. Let's call him Smooth Diamond.
Yeah. Harry Diamond. What a visual. But he was defending him for his clubs that he selected coming down the stretch at the US Open, and Smiley Kaufman. I guess both of them. Rory didn't totally body Smiley Kaufman, but he was just defending his caddy. But he did definitely body Hank Haney. And I can say that Hank Haney is like one of the most overrated instructors. I don't love to speak on other people's instruction, but that dude fucking sucks. I have it on good word, a friend of a friend, not naming any names. But one of his friends played PGA Tour golf and went to Hank Haney. And he said his game got so bad in 1 year that it took him 5 years to recover and like get back to the point before he started working with Hank Haney. So Hank Haney's run out of his 30 minutes of fame. And honestly, he probably is enjoying this because it's getting his name back in the headlines, whether it's good or bad. But yeah, I think Hank Haney officially needs to disappear after this, because even Rory, like in the lowest of times, he's talking about like, his first press conference since the US Open, and he couldn't help but just fucking take a shot at Hank Haney on the way down. So I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Exact quote here. Someone said to me once, if you would never take advice from these people, you would never take their criticisms either. Certainly wouldn't go to Hank Haney for advice. Boom!
Fucking lay the hammer.
You've got Hank Haney 6 foot under, Mitchell 5'7" over.
Well, dude,
in teaching abilities and in real life.
Fucking Rory. I mean, Rory's only like 5'8", 5'9". He's got fucking Hank Haney 11 feet 9 inches under that heel, just digging into the dirt. But then Smiley actually replied, and it was kind of a puff quote. But he said, the 15th hole that day, I suggested that I felt 7-iron was too much club, and the 8-iron was the safer option considering where he stood in the tournament. There's an element of luck involved at Pinehurst, Holy shit, this is longer than I anticipated. Um, and no doubt he was unlucky there at 15 where the ball ended up, similar to the really good 5-iron he hit that day at 5 that ended up in a worse spot. It is impossible to caddy on that course because it's so complex. When good shots end up in bad places, I always have to question the decision making, as it is my job to do. I have nothing but respect for Rory and Harry, and I think that they make a great team, and wishing them both the best this week and future weeks. So I don't think Smiley Kaufman ever thought that he would end up in a position where Rory McIlroy was taking shots at him. But and it wasn't necessarily a shot, but I will say that Rory, I think if he keeps not winning majors, he has to look inward, which we've talked about. I've mentioned it multiple times on this podcast. But it almost feels like Rory has too many yes men in his corner. And so I think including his caddy, like, I don't know how much his caddy really does contribute. So I could see him making a switch. He's never won a major with Harry Diamond on the bag, which sounds about right. So I could see him making a switch at caddy sometime in the next few years if he continues to have these high finishes at majors and not be able to get over the hump, because that is kind of one of the low hanging fruit of things that you can change, that are not your golf swing or something with you personally that can have an impact on your game. So I could see Harry Diamond getting the boot sometime in the next few years. But for now, I think Rory's just going to defend his guy and just keep picking shitty clubs. And then, like, Rory talking real quick on the quote. Did you hear his quote about the putt at 18?
No.
He basically said he didn't want to leave himself a bigger comebacker because he knew that Bryson was in the trees. So he was thinking about two putting that. Like, he didn't want to hit it too far by. I'm like,
that's some shit I would think about.
That is that is the biggest loser mentality I've ever fucking heard in my life. The fact that a PGA Tour player of Rory's caliber is worrying about two putting from 3 feet. That is like the crux of overthinking. Because you're more worried about where Bryson is. Rory just makes that putt. He's like, at the very least, I'm in a playoff. If Bryson doesn't make par, I win the event. I just can't even believe that those words came out of his mouth where he said, I was worried about the comebacker. Like, it's a fucking 3-footer, dude. Be more worried about hitting it solid and square on the club face than what the comebacker looks like. Holy shit.
Dude, that's so me. That is like me to a T. I'd be like, let's just cozy up. On my PAT, I 3-putted from 12 feet because I cozied up a 12-footer, and then I cozied up a 3-footer because I knew all I needed was a 3-putt to pass the PAT, and then tapped it in.
You just keep fucking laying it up, just halfway there, halfway there, halfway there.
It's comfortable.
For Rory to even say that, it just took me back. I'm like, this dude is not. This dude may never win another major if he's worried about a fucking comebacker on a 3-footer.
Yeah, that's absolute loser mentality. Like, I can't believe I didn't hear that. That's the things that come out of those guys' mouths sometimes on some pressers. You're just like, well, they didn't mean to say that. Mike Gundy had like 4 of those moments yesterday, but we won't get into that. Let's talk about Keegan Bradley being the Ryder Cup captain 2025. I listened to the entire press conference. And I got some news and some notes here that we can pass back and forth, play a little tennis. So one of the quotes,
switching back and forth.
I want to make the team on points, but unless the team is insisting on it, I will not pick myself. And so this, he got asked because a lot of the times, I didn't go through all the captains, but a lot of the times it's pretty evident that somebody should be a captain because of their past playing career. But as we all know from the Netflix show Full Swing, he was we felt in our IMO, our opinion, IOO, that he got snubbed last year to make the team for a couple of the guys. Justin Thomas, that wasn't playing very good golf and maybe shouldn't have been part of the team. And so
Jordan
theoretically,
Spieth, just fucking dog water.
Yeah, so theoretically he could pick himself as a captain's pick, but said that unless the team is like insisting on it, he won't do that. And some of the other guys would be like, oh, don't insist on me playing. I don't think Keegan's going to be that guy. But I thought that was an interesting quote, and just the thought of someone picking themselves. Like, what do you make of that? What would you think of Keegan Bradley if the final captain's pick last year, he's like, and I'm in?
He's like, we're going to have a closed door meeting, captains only. And he just goes into a room. He's like, yeah, I'm fucking playing. That
White Wolf of Wall Street, I'm fucking playing.
Him and Michael Jordan just go back into a room together. Dude, so I don't want to jump all over, but I heard it floated that MJ could be a vice captain. There's no fucking way America loses if Michael Jordan is the vice captain of the Ryder Cup team. Like, he will just mental. Have you heard the stories about MJ just like staring dudes down at golf tournaments and like mentally he's done it at Ryder Cups before and like physically intimidated them with his 6'10" physical prowess or however the fuck big he is. He'd be like a whole head taller than Rory and me, but I'm not playing in the Ryder Cup, so I'm going to leave myself out of that. But just the fact that Michael Jordan is being like floated, I think is fucking awesome. But on the subject of like picking yourself, that would just be an all-time like Anthony Edwards, like LeBron James type moment where I don't think Keegan's got that in him to do that, but it would be legendary in just the fact of like, yeah, I fucking picked myself because I trust myself more than I trust anybody else. That's like the ultimate dad move. You're like, I'd rather just do it myself than ask somebody else to do it.
Feel that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Except for playing golf, because you'd probably want someone else to do that for you.
Thank you.
But yeah.
Well, so piggybacking off your comment of the potential Michael Jordan being a vice captain, he did say in the interview as well that vice captains are going to be younger and set up the future of the Ryder Cup, and they're definitely going to be involved with the PGA Tour. So that kind of refutes the point that you just made, or the potential, or all the talk about Michael Jordan. But I think it's cool that he's thinking about he wants to obviously win the event, which they will, because it's in America. They're going to win the Ryder Cup. Like, whether Keegan's a bad captain or not, they're going to win. And he wants guys that are like, not saying Smiley Kaufman, but like a Smiley Kaufman would be a perfect example, where he's played on the tour, he's involved with the PGA Tour, not good enough to be on the Ryder Cup team, but a guy that fits kind of that mold of maybe someone that's a good, decent leader, and their game is not quite there. Johnson Wagner, let's get him in the Ryder Cup vice captaincy.
I think real quick, I think you're talking out of your ass, because Smiley won like one fucking opposite field event on the PGA Tour. And I know you're thinking outside of the box here, but holy fuck, you're going way out. I think Michael Jordan has a better chance than Smiley Kaufman does.
Did you not hear the exact quote? They will definitely be involved in the PGA Tour in some capacity, because he asked about, if he thought about the vice captains and if they were just going to be like some random people, essentially. And he said, no, they're going to be people involved in the PGA Tour. So Michael Jordan may have been the thought on the back end of that question. His name wasn't exactly mentioned, but I don't think he's going to choose a non-golfer to be the vice captain. I mean, don't get me wrong, it'd be electric. Like, we would do a whole emergency pod on Michael Jordan being the vice captain of the Ryder Cup team. But I don't think it's Smiley Kaufman played on the PGA Tour. I'm not saying he's some world beater, but anybody that's a world beater, or he's even had a good amount of success and is from America, is going to be on the team playing. Another quote, one of the craziest things about the whole press conference and just the idea of him being named Ryder Cup captain in general, this is the exact quote: "It was probably the most surprising thing that's ever happened to me, and I wasn't entirely comfortable with the guys that were passed over." So when he got the call 2 Sundays ago, kept it under wraps until now, which is good for him. He didn't just go tweet. It would have been so great if he would have tweeted like a USA flag or just something hilarious. But
like Adrian Woj bomb on himself, just, I'm the captain of the U.S. Ryder Cup team.
Or like, just even more cryptic, just the flag emoji. Flag emoji, golf emoji.
Subtweet at USA Ryder Cup team.
But it's kind of interesting to hear Keegan say that out loud, where he's like, I obviously that's a huge deal for him to be named the captain, But the idea that he was like, okay, well, you know, Tiger was the guy that everybody thought was going to be it, and then he passed it over. Then all the reports were Stewart Cink we were seeing yesterday before it got announced. And nobody even talked to him, you know, piggybacking on that. Nobody even talked to him about being the captain until he was called by Seth Waugh, Zach Johnson, and basically told like, hey, we went through all the things, and I believe whoever else was in the interview was like, this guy checked all the boxes in terms of, you know, they mentioned his dad being a PGA pro. So maybe Sawyer, future Ryder Cup captain, that'll help him out. That I was a mediocre head professional director of golf at one point in my life. They didn't mention his dad being a PGA pro. They mentioned him being from the Northeast, going to college at St. John's in New York. And then he mentioned, you know, Bethpage being the actual New York course. So they said there was a lot of things that checked off the boxes, but also that he was such a fiery and emotional player in the Ryder Cups in 2012 and 2014. So I thought it was interesting that he was like, he said that he doesn't think that Zach Johnson, Seth Waugh got the reaction that he wanted. Like after he got off the call, he was like, wow, I don't think I reacted how I wanted to, because he was so shocked that he hadn't been talked to about it, and then just gets a call that he's going to be the captain when he's also in this weird flow of like, maybe hopefully making the team, not making it last year, you know, that kind of state of his game.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it must have been just like rattling for him, because, you know, they had no discussion beforehand. He was just like called and appointed captain. So that's got to be like a rattling moment for you. But yeah, I mean, he's going to be the second youngest Ryder Cup captain ever, behind Arnold Palmer, who I guess was 36. Keegan is 39. But like you said, I love it for a multitude of reasons, because he brings that fire. He is one of the few dudes on the PGA Tour that he's like that old school, and he may honestly get it a little bit from Michael Jordan. He is that old school, I want to fucking bury you, I have that look in my eye, I'm not out here to be your buddy type of mentality. And I feel like a lot of guys on the PGA Tour do not have that anymore. And I think Keegan still has that. And you can just see it, how he carries himself week in, week out. He is not the most talented dude out there, but he is like a pure determination and grit guy. And that is like what the U.S. is built on. So I love that for him. And I also love the fact that, you know, he's not leaving anybody off the team that deserves to be on the team. He's taking Brooks. He's taking Bryson. He's taking whoever needs to be taken. Whoever's got the hot hand, he's bringing them, because this is not a fucking hee-haw at the fuck around gang like it was for Zach Johnson. This isn't who can fucking donate the most to my charity. Like, Keegan is going to go over there or go to New York and try to win that event, because so many people are doubting it. So many people on social media are saying Keegan was a terrible choice. You know, there were so many other options. And like Stewart Cink was floated around. And let's just be real. That guy's got the personality of a wet blanket. He's had a fantastic PGA Tour career, but Stewart Cink is like, and maybe because he's so tall and goofy looking, I just can't take him serious, but I just don't see him being a leader of men. I see Keegan being a guy that will like go in and MF the entire team room as like a motivation, like an old school type of coach, versus the new, like, just go out there. You know, what did Zach Johnson say? Everybody's going to do their best or some shit. Keegan Bradley's like, fuck your best. You need to win. I don't care what you're doing out there. You just I need to see red on that board.
Yeah. And he mentioned that specifically about live players. He said, I'm going to take the best players. There was a couple of things. He said he'd even attend a live event, if that's kind of what it came down to, when it's getting down to the captain's pick and the points and where that's shaping up. But also, we don't know what the PGA Tour /live/PIF is going to look like next year and what the point system is going to be. A couple of things I learned from the press conference that I didn't really know exactly is, it seems like, and I'm saying this as allegedly because I don't know the exact rules, like I didn't look them up, but he gets the opportunity to kind of choose and help with the point system and how that looks as the captain. So he could, make some adjustments in terms of how guys automatically qualify. And then also there's some sort of choice system of how many captain's picks there are. So he could have 2 and 10 qualifiers. He could have 6 and 6 automatic qualifiers. There's a couple different options right there in terms of, some flexibility that he has. And it was kind of mentioned later on, but the captain/host team get to choose and help with the setup of the golf course. So he said they're going out to Bethpage, I believe, next week, or he's something like that. And he's going to get to kind of set up Bethpage the way they want it to be for the Americans, and which I would assume is higher rough. There's an American style of golf and there's a European style of golf. And so I would imagine, to benefit the United States as much as they can, on top of the fan base being their 13th player, which he cited as well, the golf course and the setup may help the Americans, and not only building the best team, but be able to win the Ryder Cup. And there was one other thing that was kind of interesting that
he's gonna make a provision that like a captain's pick has to have the initials KB. He's like, oh wait, that's only me. Okay, I'm in.
Okay,
I think he's get. I know he won't pick himself, but I would love it for social media purposes. The content would be phenomenal.
Oh, 100%. So one thing he mentioned too is he looks up to the younger guys on tour right now. He said this generation has true friends on the tour and camaraderie. When he got back on the tour in early 2000s, when he started playing consistently, he said that everyone was like an enemy. He felt like everyone was an enemy to him, and he was just trying to win and not be part of it. And I think that's kind of like a symbolic of where the world has gone in general too, is the younger generations, like they, without getting too into like the world and weird, like, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm short-circuiting as well. But basically the world is more together, and people, instead of all the players on the tour coming up now that are like, I just want to beat you into the ground, it's more, hey, we're buddies. Like, we're playing against the golf course. If you win, great. If I win, great. So there's a difference in what he's seen, and he actually looks up to the guys now and is like, hey, like, I felt super alone when I got on the PGA Tour because all I wanted to do was beat everyone. And now they're buddies. They're staying in the same house week over week as they go to PGA Tour events, rooting for each other to make the most money, win events, things like that. So I thought that was kind of an interesting point to where the PGA Tour is going in relation to even where the entire world has moved in the last 20 years.
No, I would agree with you. I mean, and that's why I said it feels like Keegan Bradley still has that killer mentality about him, because when you come out and you're fighting for your PGA Tour card and you're, it's either you or me type of mentality. That's just kind of what he grew up on and started his PGA Tour career with, and it's gotten him this far. So I can't blame him for having that mentality. And I personally love competitors like that. Like I could see there's only a couple other dudes that I think have that kind of killer instinct, and like Brooks Koepka is definitely one of them. Do you think Bryson has a killer instinct, or do you think he's going to be like all chummy with the European team?
I think Bryson's like the weird he's our generation, but like millennial that's just so focused on his own stuff that he doesn't, he's kind of just the odd duck, I would say. He's so focused on his own thing, but I think when he steps in the lines, he's a killer. Like, I think once he steps, into the golf course and gets in the moment, especially in a Ryder Cup, I think like we saw it at the US Open, certified killer.
You think if he could go up to like one of his opponents in the Ryder Cup and be like, if you subscribe to my YouTube page, all the 3-footers are good today. Like, I'm just trying to get subs.
Sub to my YouTube.
Correct.
He's going to have 12 more subs if the PGA Tour players he's with have YouTubes. And
also real quick, just the fact that Luke Donald, there was like not even any like, they just immediately announced that Luke Donald was going to be captain again. I feel like is a little bit of a slap in the face for the Americans. Like, Europe just thinks they're going to come back and roll again. And I don't necessarily, I mean, I could be wrong. Obviously, it's always easier for the Europeans when they're in Europe, and it's easier for the US when they're in the US, but I don't see it going as well. And obviously I'm an American, so I'm a little biased. I don't see it going how they think it's going to go at Bethpage. And I mean, I'm so stoked to go, hopefully go to this Ryder Cup. I think that would be a bucket list thing we'd have to do. No way they give us a media credential, because that would just be the ultimate irony of this whole situation. But the fans up here are going to be absolutely ruthless to all the American, or to all the Europeans. In the Northeast, they're just built different. They're going to be saying shit about players' wives, about players' kids. People do not care up here. Like they will do anything to win a sporting event. So I don't think that the U.S. will have had a crowd like this in probably decades for the Ryder Cup, and it's going to be a zoo. It's going to be, once again, cinema.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible. Speaking of subs to the YouTube, Bryson DeChambeau's subscribe to our YouTube. If you're not watching this on YouTube, if you're on Twitter or listening to the audio version, head over to youtube.com BDE Golf. Give us a like, thumbs up on this video, and subscribe to that bad boy. All right, we're going to get out of here, but before we do, real quick, a Fairway or Fore. That's our weekly Wednesday segment where we give you guys 2 options, and you decide whether or not that's Fairway, normal, or that's Fore, you're weird. I'll start with mine. A lot of my Fairway or Fores are shower related lately. I don't know why. I just like them in the shower, and I'm like, is this weird? Is this not? So no matter what, whether I'm home alone, people are around, I always close the bathroom door when I shower. I can't leave it open. It feels like you're just in the open. What's the word I'm looking for here?
Exposed.
Exposed. Yes. Very exposed. So is that Fairway or Fore? Like always closing the door when you shower?
Dude, I am the exact same way. And my girlfriend she's like, why did you close the door? I'm like, I'm fucking showering. I'm not hiding anything in here. I just have always closed the door when I shower. Holy shit. And I think it might be different for women because, and I don't want to, cast a broad brush here, but they all shower with it so fucking hot that if they leave the door closed, then it just turns into Satan's asshole in there. So they actually have to leave the door open to, fumigate it a little bit. But for me personally, I'm taking like a lukewarm shower. I'm not even fucking steaming up the windows. So I always close the door. And I think it's weird when I get accused of being a fucking weirdo for closing the door. So I think we need Marissa's take on this.
I personally keep the door shut because I don't like the steam getting on the mirror when I head out of the shower. Because the way my bathroom,
so door shut or open?
Shut. Because the way the bathroom is we have 2 sections. So we have the shower itself that's enclosed doors, and then we have our sink and stuff like that outside.
So actually that's a very interesting dynamic, because if your shower was like a normal, not normal, but like a shower with the mirror in there, you may leave the door open. Because you don't want to steam up the mirror.
Yes, but I do like it shut, so I do keep it shut, and I do leave the shower extremely hot.
Yes, women's showers are just absolutely
absurd. I think you guys are just babies and can't handle the heat. Like Christian freaks out with how hot I leave it because he's like, you're gonna kill yourself, but I like it. So
yeah, that is all women. And I will say that Missy is sweating when she gets out of the shower and has to go cool off. I'm like, isn't that the fucking opposite of the point of a shower? You're not getting clean if you're so fucking hot. You're just there is nothing worse than getting out of the shower and you feel the sweat rolling down your forehead. You're like, what the fuck just happened? I'm not.
You guys also don't have to shave in the shower, and if it's too cold, it makes that very hard.
You ever heard of manscaping, Marissa?
I'm a woman, so I have heard of it, but no.
Men do that. I think I'm included, and I don't
do your legs though. That's what I'm saying. You don't do your legs, and if you leave too cold and you get goosebumps, then you didn't do a good job.
Okay, fair enough. That's a actual good argument that I didn't think was going to be brought to the table. So, I think that is Fairway on my part, Spencer.
Beautiful. What's yours? What do you got for us this week?
I've been oddly into avocado toast lately, and I know I used to make fun of people for eating avocado toast because I'm like, what kind of fucking Bushwick Brooklyn hippie are you? I just so fruity to me. But now I've been eating it, and you throw a little fucking everything bagel seasoning on it, and I've been getting that sourdough toast, or I've been getting a loaf of sourdough, and then you go a little bit of butter, a little avocado, a little everything bagel seasoning, and then a poached egg on top. and that is like one of the best breakfasts ever. So I'm going to say that avocado toast is underrated because I feel like it's had this character arc of like nobody had it, and then every place has got it on their menu now. So then everyone's like, "Oh, avocado toast fucking sucks," and now it's kind of like got that that character arc of like Nickelback. You know, like it's actually pretty good, but it just got shoved down everybody's throats for so long that they're like, "Fuck this shit." So I think avocado toast is underrated.
I would say maybe underrated. I like avocado toast, but I don't have the time. It's not good enough to me where I'm like, I'm going to make my own avocado toast. If I see it at a restaurant and there's not something else I like better, I'll order it, but I'm not like super into it. Let's put it that way.
See, I think that's where you're wrong because it takes like 10 minutes to make. It's not.
Well, you got to
like
have the ripe avocado. I'm not a big fan of cutting avocados. Yeah, I'm
well,
just not. I
your
like
knife,
it though. It's
your
not like I
knife
hate it.
skills are that of like a 3-year-old, so that makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, watching you use a knife is like taking your own life in your fucking hands. But I think it's a quick, like, pretty simple breakfast, and it just really fills you up. And I like the good crunch and the runny yolk of like the poached egg. Just it fucking hits. I want to get Marissa's opinion on this as well.
Oh, I love it. It's one of my favorite, like, because I'm not a big breakfast person. I've told you guys that. Like, I don't like the burritos and that kind of stuff, like just the egg by itself. But I do like those. Those are really good. That goes up there with like oatmeal, like the oatmeal with like all the stuff on top of it. I also like that.
Wait, can you say oatmeal one more time? Because it sounds like you're saying oatmeal.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Oatmeal.
Oatmeal? You're just there's an E and an A in there. You're just totally running over.
I said it. Thanks. Appreciate
just,
it.
You're pronouncing it OATML. Oatmeal.
Well, you want to play this game? Then I'm gonna start analyzing everything you say and taking notes.
Oh,
All right.
I fumble fuck half the words that I say on this podcast.
That wraps it up for this week. We got Mr. Avocado Toast here, Miss Oatmeal, and Big Drive Spence. Make sure to follow us on all social media at Big Drive Energy, Big Drive Energy Pod on Instagram. We'll be back Monday with a recap of the Scottish Open, and we've got another major week coming up, the last one of the year. So make sure you're tuning into all that coverage. We will talk to you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. Click that thumbs up button on the way out. Give us a subscription. We'd appreciate it. Peace.
Peace.